Lots of news coming out of the Formula 1 world as we head into the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend. First of all, Lancia's B-Spec car has now arrived in its full form. Yes, a huge wave of upgrades going onto the car should hopefully mean they're fighting towards the front more consistently. However, there are still concerns between Matt Beard and Daniel Ricciardo with the tyre wear now. Apparently the car is going to be more brutal on its tyres, and that is going to make things certainly more interesting over a race distance. Of course, this is going to be Daniel Ricciardo's last race with the team as well, and of course his new replacement will be confirmed next weekend before the British Grand Prix. And also Andretti have said that they will be on the grid after the summer break, so following the next sprint weekend in Belgium, we will finally see Andretti with a Formula 1 team. Lots of exciting things going on though as we head into the weekend. Max Verstappen, Lando, Norris and Matt Beard all separated by just 2 points at the top of the table, so let's do this thing. Quickly though, before we get into this video, I want to thank all of the names you see on your screen. Without their continued support of the channel, none of the work we do here would be possible. And if you want to get your name featured on this list, you can click the join button or click the Patreon link down in my description below and support the channel from just £1 a month. You will also get access to weekly updates about everything going on behind the scenes, and also occasionally some early previews on videos. So yeah, a massive thank you to my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters, and let's get back to the video. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 8 of season 2 of the F123 Lancia career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for our first sprint race of the season from the Austrian Grand Prix, and as you would have seen in the intro, huge news coming into the weekend. Finally, the team have sorted us out with a full B-Spec car. That means we have seen a huge jump in performance now, tied with Ferrari there, and we've still got a couple more upgrades in the works, but this now means we are definitely in the fight at the top of the table. Of course, if you missed out on the the Canadian Grand Prix that went live a couple of weeks ago, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Taking a look at our championship standings, well, there is currently 2 points covering our top 3 in the Drivers' Championship there. Max Verstappen leads the way still, ahead of Lando, Norris, and myself, George Russell, only 8 points back as well. So there is a big old championship fight going down early on this campaign. We are just 1 point behind Ferrari as well as we head into this weekend. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton both having a bit of a nightmare to kickstart the year, but with twice as many opportunities to score some points, fingers crossed this new car is going to be a winner. Well, for whatever reason, it feels like whenever I return to Austria inside F123, we always get a wet qualifying session. Saturday and Sunday, though, do appear to be dry. But yeah, the aim of the game then today, just try and get some qualifying laps on the board, see how competitive we are. Obviously, we've got plenty of sets of intermediates, so tyres are not going to be a limiting factor here. We've just got to try and rack up some laps. Purple through the first sector then on this first lap, but we are stuck under the rear wing of Nico Hülkenberg at the moment. See there, the Haas driver sliding that car through the final couple of corners. If you're going to see him bail out there once he's crossed the line. Doesn't, 21 thousandths away from Lewis Hamilton. I get a nice slipstream back down in towards the first corner. There's Perez in his Porsche going to the top of the board. Okay, track conditions are definitely improving. Well, rain has officially stopped as we make our way around this second lap, so I reckon we could see a switch to the dry tyres before the end of qualifying, and this might end up being one of those sessions where the last driver on a run is the one with a huge advantage here. Lando Norris, the first driver under the 1 minute 11s.
Falling down the order, you're now in P7.
Try and finish off this second lap though. Alright, as we make our way out in the final corner. We'll go back up to P5 then, but slower than Verstappen and Carlos Sainz. Well, as qualifying continues to evolve and develop then, we are going to be the first driver back out on a set of the dries. There is no question about it though, it is dry conditions here. Everyone else is about to come out though, so we need to try and kind of do one lap and then prepare ourselves for another one, but I'm not convinced we're going to have the time We might have really screwed ourselves over here by coming out a bit too early for our final run. Good thing is, track isn't actually drying out anymore. It is bone dry here, so we are all on dry pace running. As we can still see, cars still making their way out the pit lane there. Alpine, I believe that is, seem to be slow to adjust. But we've got one of the V-carb cars just in front. So we make our way down in towards the final corner, though. I'm not sure we're going to have enough battery to go for another run. But we're going to have to try and go for it and maybe use that slipstream from Zhou Guanyu in front of me there. Is that the final corner? Surely we're going to rocket to the top. Yes, we are. But are we going to be able to just hang around and maybe save some battery to go for a second run? That's got to be the goal, but we might run out of tyres. Make sure we get out of the way of the Aston Martin then as we plunge down the hill. Magnussen all the way down in P16, but now we basically need to stay behind him because we can only afford to lose about 3 seconds off my delta. We've charged the battery back up though as we round our way through the final couple of corners. Esteban Ocon has gone fastest of anybody so far, but starting our final lap of qualifying then. Will we get over the line? Yes, we will. Only just. Now, we've got to try and deliver once again whilst the pressure is on. We're the only one really with any experience so far of this lap. You can see Charles Leclerc over a second clear of me. So now it is just going to be happy hour as we make our way up in towards turn 2. A little bit of lock-up. And we'll get the power down there and we'll find a little bit of time, but everyone else improving around me. And we just seem to be dropping down the order, have the tyres given the best of what they're capable of prior to now. We can just see they're really struggling to scrub off the speed in the braking zones, and I reckon we might be really shooting ourselves in the foot as we make our way down the hill. Come on, right up towards that gravel trap. We've just got ourselves into the championship fight, and now it seems like we're going to immediately put ourselves on the back foot. We are still up at the moment. We are still improving. We're just a couple more corners to go. Don't run wide through the penultimate corner, but round the final turn up towards the line. We are going to improve, but where's that going to leave us on the grid? I think it's P13. Well, 9 thousandths of a second in it then between Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton, but it is the McLaren driver who takes pole over the Ferrari man there. Bottas and Leclerc will mean it's McLaren Ferrari. Is it 15 years ago? Who knows? But yeah, Carlos Sainz there ahead of both Alpines to set identical times. So Verstappen as well, way further down the order than he would have wanted. We line up P13 on the grid though. George Russell down in P21 and Daniel Ricciardo in what is going to be his last race for Lancia, 1.7 seconds slower than anybody else. Quickly though, before we get into that, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Fanatec. Yes, I have used Fanatec gear now for many, many years, and they still are a dominant force in the sim racing space. If you're racing on Xbox or PC, nothing really comes close, and their PC offerings are still absolutely brilliant. If you're interested in ever shopping for any Fanatec products, it would be greatly appreciated if you would use my link down in the description below. At no additional cost to yourself, you massively help support the channel, and yeah, I just want to say thank you for Fanatec for their continued support.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Bottas, Leclerc, Sainz, Ocon, Gasly, Verstappen, Magnussen, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Firestarter, Théo Pourchaire, Joe, Hulkenberg, Liam Lawson, Albon, Iwasa, Sargent, Russell, and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
Well, I had put a load of new components into the car, but apparently they haven't applied, which is a little bit odd. But here we are then, ready for the sprint race here in Spielberg, and, well, we're going to have to go aggressive with it, aren't we? A little bit further down the order than we would have wanted, so we're going to have to go soft compound tyres and pray for a bit of a miracle, or, you know, get the old elbows out at some point during the race. But let's do this thing then. Tsunoda and Piastri just in front, Porcher and Zhou just behind, 5 red lights. It's going to be lights out, and away we go then for our first sprint race of the year. Piastri, a bit of a slow start. So many cars trying to have a look down the inside at that first corner. Yuki Tsunoda, Sergio Perez, as I think Checo wanted to maybe get a little bit of redemption against his former Red Bull teammate. Here comes Tsunoda, though, as we're going to go down the inside of Perez at the top of the hill, and Yuki not being so brave in that one. Verstappen making a move around the outside of Magnussen. Two of Formula One's most aggressive drivers going to wheel, and rather unsurprisingly, there was a little bit of contact there at the start of the race. But yeah, looks like Verstappen might be one of the only other drivers actually who has opted to start on the soft compound tyre, but it is still, I believe, Lando Norris leading the way at the front of the field. But yeah, we need to try and settle into a rhythm. I'd love to beat Verstappen here, but yeah, I mean, both of us I think are going to be trying to move forward. Well, we've got to use the grip advantage that we've got early on against the likes of Magnussen. You can see that on the power unit, very, very quick in the back of that Aston. Seems to serve them quite well still on the higher altitudes, and you can just see Magnussen making that car nice and wide, but every single traction zone he has got enough at the moment. Reassuring though, Verstappen getting caught up a little bit behind Esteban Ocon. Oh, here we go, Verstappen swinging to the inside wall. And we know these two have got a little bit of beef in previous years, as Magnussen will go past Verstappen. I'm going to try to win fine by there. As you can see, Verstappen now trying to make it 3 wide. Oh, with Ocon there and Magnussen. They somehow make it work. Somehow we don't get any front wing damage in that moment either. We must have just ran into the perfect point on the back of Ocon's car, but now no one else has got DRS apparently. So we're going to try and make 1, 2, maybe even 3 as Magnussen tried to move across me in the braking zone. Ocon and the Dane still side by side on the exit the corner. We're now side by side with World Championship leader Max Verstappen, who will try and get around the outside of me. He brakes late on the way in, but we keep the nose there. And what on earth is going on? We're on lap 3 of the sprint, lads. And we're all fighting like it's the final lap of the Grand Prix. 3 wide. Now in towards the final corner again, as Ocon forced to back out of it in the middle. Magnussen will make it around the outside. And while Magnussen and I have been able to navigate both the Alpine and the Red Bull just in front of us. Well, now, of course, they're just behind us. Surely we can get a run, though. Whoa, on Magnussen out of turn 1. Not if I do that, as Verstappen caught with nowhere to go on the exit. We'll still try and use all of our battery to make sure that we get back ahead of the Frenchman. What on earth is this at the start of the Grand Prix? They're around the outside of Ocon at the top of the hill, and we'll make it back through. Oh, Magnussen's gone. Magnussen's gone again. Second time in 2 races, I believe, for the Dane. And that is yet another Honda power unit going up in smoke. It has been the story of the season up to this point, but now, yeah, Magnussen out of the sprint race, at half distance. What is going wrong with those Honda power units?
Some information on Magnussen for you. Okay, it looks like the problem's terminal. They're retiring the car.
Well, I must admit, yeah, after Magnussen's failure, we've kind of been very, very lonely towards the end of this race. We've been watching the 4 cars in front of me duke it out and trying to keep an eye on Lewis Hamilton versus Lando Norris on the mini-map. Verstappen as well finally got clear of Esteban Ocon and has been taking a bit of time out, and maybe it's going to be too little too late for the Dutchman unless I make a mistake on this final lap. But yeah, certainly plenty of drama in the sprint race for about a lap, and then apart from that, it has been fairly undramatic once again towards the end of this one. But making our way in through the final couple of corners, then Lando Norris, he's going to take the lead of the Drivers' World Championship here on Sprint Race Saturday, and we hopefully are going to be just 1 point back behind Verstappen as well then. But myself and the Dutchman, with a lot of work to do on Sunday. Lando Norris is a Formula 1 sprint race winner. Well, there we go then. That might be the first time ever that a championship lead has changed thanks to a sprint race, but it is Lando Norris at the top of the table. Lewis Hamilton just 6 tenths away from him come the checkered flag, so I'm sure our fellow Brit will be gunning for Grand Prix victory tomorrow there. Bottas P3 held off ahead of Sainz, Gasly, Leclerc and myself there, and Verstappen 8th to 8th in the end. He has got a lot of work to do. Have we got any other movers though overall? Yeah, Lando now to the top of the table. I guess the fact that we've got 5 drivers now that could leave this weekend in the championship lead is pretty mental as well. But yeah, let's get into it though. Grand Prix Sunday. Before we get into that though, I just want to thank today's video sponsor, IMB Racewear. I get asked all the time why I use gloves for sim racing, and truth be told, it saves you a lot of money in the long run. Yes, when you are using expensive steering wheels, it is really important that you have a pair of gloves that can protect the wheel from your oily, sweaty hands, and IMB Racewear have got some of the best gloves on the market. Of course, you can have the custom branded Mat 212 gloves or any other gloves off of their site. There'll be a link down in the description below, and if you use that, you massively help support the channel at no extra cost to yourself.
Welcome from the beautiful Styrian Mountains for another chapter in the story of the Austrian Grand Prix. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Bottas, Sainz, Gasly, Leclerc, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Perez, Ocon, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Liam Lawson, Joe, Teo Pourchaire, Ricciardo, Russell, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Iwasa, Magnussen and Firestarter. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Well, here we are then, back trackside then for the full race. And yeah, looking forward to this one. 36 laps ahead of us and hoping we can try and continue pushing our way towards the front of the field. However, I want to try and go mediums and then either to softs or to hards later on in the day. Soft compound tyres didn't feel fantastic towards the end of the sprint. But yeah, we'll see how far we can take the mediums into the afternoon. But yeah, starting from the back of the field, thanks to our grid penalties, we're alongside Magnussen again. So I'm sure we're going to continue to have a good battle with him then. But yeah, waiting on the grid for those 5 red lights. Very long haul, but it is lights out, and away we go there. Logan Sargent not getting off to a particularly good start, so we make our way down in towards turn 1 then, to the outside of Magnussen, in towards that first corner, to the outside of apparently absolutely everybody through that first corner, or get around Nico Hulkenberg, and even the V-Carb car of Zhou Guanyu, still struggling with a bit of straight line speed here, as, well, Russell is apparently 20 seconds but in front of me. So I don't quite get how that one works as we're trying to get around the outside of even more cars at the top of the hill there. So a bit of P16 will go then straight off the start, but not sure whether George Russell, whether that might give us some issues later on in the afternoon. Looks like a lot more drivers have opted for the soft compound tyre to start this one today, as Hamilton already to the front of the field in his Ferrari. So we'll be looking for a big result this afternoon if he can walk away with one. But yeah, how do we kind of plan ahead for this one? Do we just kind of do what we did in Canada and pick up places where we can and see if we can slowly move our way to the front? Do we be a bit more aggressive? It really is anybody's guess early on in this GP. But yeah, I guess the most important thing, of course, is we focus on our championship rivals. Lando Norris still up right at the front. Max Verstappen running still in the lower end of the top 10 there, as I think now Russell might be getting a little bit screwed because of blue flags. Coming inside of Porcher at the top of the hill, though. Also almost thought of trying to make a move on Daniel Ricciardo, as will squeeze the young Frenchman out. Yeah, Ricciardo really has been a disappointment with the Lancia team. Was hoping for a lot more from him. But when we're in the championship fight and he's still yet to score, funnily enough, I'm going to try and get past him as quickly as possible. Oh, I'll never forget. Yeah, never forget just how much the AI struggle up the hill there. So we'll try and have a look down the inside of Alex Albon. Liam Lawson running very close to the points. Don't think he's scored yet this season. So I'm sure he'd love to not only get a point on the board, but also try and beat his teammate in a head-to-head. Already I can see cars 3 wide in P4, a 2x2 just in front of me as well, so everyone clearly feeling a little bit out of place at the moment, as Lawson just got around the outside of Piastri and Ocon down at turn 1. We're going to try and take some of that inspiration then as we look to try and get around Sergio Perez, who in turn going to try and dive his way to the inside of Oscar Piastri there. Plenty of contact as Checo tries to be way too aggressive at the next couple of corners, and at the moment,
Great job, really impressive.
well, it feels a little bit like the early laps of Canada last weekend. We're just trying to make moves up as early as possible. Very robust move on Esteban Ocon, but when you think we started this one from 21st place, already up inside the top 10, I don't know how we keep doing this in this series. Lawson, I want to see you succeed, buddy, but not as much as I want to the outside of the Lamborghini. That thing does look beautiful, I must admit. Around the outside down at turn 1, we'll give him the room. They've got more yellows out. Someone else is breaking down. Please don't say that's Kevin Magnussen again. No, I believe that might be the V-carb of a Yuma Owasa this time. Let's go find out what's happened. Well, riding on board then with a Yuma Owasa as he makes his way out of the final corner in his Visa Cash App car. You can see plenty of drivers duking out in front of him, and he's going to have no say on the matter. That car just switching off. Are we going to see any plumes of smoke coming out of the back of it either? Can see a little bit, but no, I think that's just been an engine switch off and the heartbreak for Owasa. Come on then, Yuki Tsunoda. So we've just watched one Japanese driver retire from the Grand Prix and try and complete a move on the other one as Verstappen and Leclerc. Whoa! Okay, Tsunoda, clearly. Well, we haven't seen many of the AI do it this weekend. Tsunoda wanted to get the elbows out, as maybe I was a little bit too distracted watching Verstappen and Leclerc up the road duking out. Yeah, Yuki, okay. Oh, Verstappen again to the inside of Charles Leclerc.
By 2.4 seconds.
You can see there again a little bit more contact between them, and Sainz this time wasn't able to capitalise. Here goes Tsunoda. No, he doesn't. Carlos Sainz says absolutely not, matey boys. They're all ducking and diving, trying to find a way through. We're going to try this time around and get to the inside of Tsunoda up at the top of the hill, and we'll out-traction Carlos Sainz on the exit. So all of the AI once again just tripping over each other at the moment as 1, 2 and 3 overtakes completed then as to the outside of Leclerc. A little bit of wheel banging with the Ferrari.
Good job.
But there we go, we are through and we are back behind our ex-championship leader. Yellows, someone else maybe. Oh, it's the other Aston Martin. This time around Yuki Tsunoda at the Grand Prix. So we've lost both Japanese drivers then in the space of, well, less than 9 laps here. But Tsunoda, he's going to peel into the pit lane, so he might not be out. Well, we're going to try and get a run then on Verstappen as we make our way up the hill. Already got past the Dutchman once this weekend. Are we going to be able to do it again then? Because Red Bull really are seemingly struggling here. We'll switch him up the top of the hill, and we will move up and into P5. Oh, we got yellows. Someone else has got issues. I think it might be Lando Norris. What is happening at the start of this Grand Prix? Lando Norris, from the lead of the race, from the top position in the championship, he's now out of the Austrian Grand Prix. Why is this one turned into a race of attrition so early on? And we're now up into P4 then. So I believe, therefore, if the race was to finish like this, we would take the lead of the Drivers' World Championship here. But yeah, Bottas running up in P2. He's in the fight, isn't he, surely? As he now tries to have a look around the outside of Hamilton in the Ferrari car. The two former Mercedes duo certainly have had different careers since their time there. But Bottas is up into the lead. Well, we almost just binned it, and Sainz has decided to go hit. What?
Overtake button for more power. We need to push.
That's got to be the dumbest penalty I have ever seen in this game there. We dropped the back end, trying to come out of the fast chicane there. Sainz goes and hits me.
Catching you at a rate of about 2 seconds a lap. Be aware.
And apparently I get a 5-second penalty for it. Suddenly then, this race has been made a lot more difficult, as we're trying to get a run back on Max Verstappen up the hill. The outside of the Dutchman will go. But clearly, Red Bull maybe getting some preferential treatment here in their home Grand Prix, as around the outside of Max will go. We're back up into P5. You're not going to try and spend all my afternoon behind Carlos Sainz then here, as we'll once again try and get a run on the Red Bull. Plenty happening at the start of this GP, but can we try and continue making moves up the order? Sainz there a little bit slow on the exit, and thank you very much for up and through. I think Verstappen, though, has got mechanical problems. He is dropping back rather quickly. Already. Very, very early for a pit stop here, at least in my mind. AI in on just lap 15. I guess if they are going off the soft tyres, Hamilton, we're already watching him drop back behind Pierre Gasly. Maybe that's why Verstappen's struggling as well then. Soft compound tyres, definitely not the race tyre to have. There we go, pretty much everyone else then into the pit lane, so Pierre Gasly will take the lead. Don't know if this is the first time Alpine have led a Grand Prix this season, but it certainly looks like their best shot to score some big points. This Austrian circuit really is suiting some odd little cars here. Ferrari and Alpine seem to have taken a huge leap forward. For that though, I reckon it was only Sainz, Gasly and myself that opted for a set of the mediums at the start of this one. Bottas and Hamilton have still come out in 4th and 5th here. Oh, I think Gasly's coming in. I think Gasly just saw him there move across the road. So we are going to go then from pretty much the back of the field to the front in just under half the race here. And we're going to go for a nice pirouette in the process. That's going to cost us a lot of time. Hopefully we'll still be out comfortably ahead of Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas here, as Pierre then is going to go over to the Hearts. But we are really, really struggling with the rear end of this car. Hopefully we haven't cooked the tyres. Sainz in. Carlos Sainz then into the pit lane, so going the furthest of anyone this afternoon, but not further than me. We're going to try and stay out for a few more laps here and still opt to bolt on the softs towards the end of the afternoon. The only thing I'm really worried about, of course, is we're going to have to serve this 5-second penalty. What on earth is going on with the rear end of this car? We are absolutely destroying the tyres. As team, yep, still happy with plan A, but I think we have really compromised ourselves this afternoon, and for a team so far this year that has been very, very good in terms of strategy and just overall balance in the car, this certainly feels very, very odd with the new car, so maybe didn't notice it in the sprint race as much, but we are definitely struggling with the balance here. As Bottas back to the lead of the Grand Prix, bearing in mind he's already pit. So we are a pit stop and 5 seconds behind Valtteri Bottas at the moment. We've got to try and get these tyres a few more laps. But yeah, for the first time in quite a few Grand Prix, I really feel like we're struggling. Well, I really did feel this Grand Prix, especially after the early laps, was going to be a bit more of a walk in the park than it has proven to be so far this afternoon, as we'll finally dive into the pit lane then at the end of lap 22. We're going to have a lot of work to do in the second half of this GP there, especially with that 5-second penalty. I'm hoping I will come out ahead of those Williams cars, but this one is really spread out in a rather odd fashion as well. We should still be inside the top 10, I believe, or maybe not. Come on, this 5 seconds feels like an eternity. We'll come out ahead, hopefully, of Liam Lawson, who Williams, yeah, seem really strong.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
Not quite ahead of those Williams, as Teo Porcher as well. I'm sure would love to try and snooker away a point this afternoon. Yes, Bottas winds his way back down the hill. We've got a lot of work to do here. This second half of the race is going to be about damage limitation. Let's see how quickly we can try and get around Porcher. That Porsche car not looking too sluggish actually this weekend. First time it's really looked pretty decent since about round 2. With Perez getting some big results out of it, but around the outside will go. Quicker car, fresher tyres, softer tyres. It was fairly easy. Yeah, looks like both Williams then have moved themselves to the front of kind of the rest, if you will, in this GP. But will it be Lawson, will it be Alex Albon that picks up a point this weekend? Either way, I want to try and get in front of the pair of them. Hero's trying to use the battery against Liam Lawson. Second time we'll go side by side with him. It's T1. This time around though, a lot more clear cut. We've managed to get to the apex. 10 seconds to Ocon and Piastri up the road. They could have been Alpine's real life lineup a couple of years ago. But I've got to hope they battle. Making our way out the final corner. This is surely going to be a new fast lap of the day. A 1:04.6. Happy with that. So clearly, for the first time all season then, it feels like we've got some really good one-lap pace in the car. I wonder though whether all these new upgrades have actually tipped the balance away from our fantastic tyre saving performance. This car now feels a lot more slippery as the tyres get warm, but it does feel a lot faster. Hyped up Williams Lamborghini, looks like they're not going to get anything from it. Kevin Magnussen now has remembered just how good that Aston Martin Honda is, and has found his way back by them both. So yeah, I mean, we're still trying to push along at the moment. We're pretty much now in the range of Ocon and Piastri. But I'm looking at it, we've only got 7 laps to go after this one. Charles Leclerc and that Ferrari might be a bit too far up the road. Oh, Ocon, a little bit of a wobble. Are we going to be able to capitalise on that one to make our way in towards the final couple of corners to the outside of the Frenchman, who wants to give me a big old squeeze, but we'll find a way around. A long way around through the penultimate corner. Team are loving it, I'm loving it. And we are through and finally back up into P8 then. Really has felt like a bit of a slow burn the second half of this race so far. But hopefully, you know, at the end of the year, these extra few points that we might get could be the difference maker. Let's not forget Charles Leclerc, though, 7 seconds up the road to try and find a way around Oscar Piastri. And we have a look. Oh, it's really struggling with front locking as well today. Up in towards that turn 3, but we're through. And now we're in pursuit of that Ferrari car. Will we get in before the end, though? Or a bit like the sprint yesterday? Is it just kind of going to fizzle out? Well, 2 laps to go then of this Grand Prix. Still just trying to chase down Charles Leclerc at the moment, but Gasly now, he's ended up in quite a battle with the Red Bulls up the road. Maybe if they can really trip over each other towards the end, there might be a chance here, but I think now, I honestly thought then that was going to be the engine, but luckily not. Unfortunately, it looks like Verstappen has now just snookered away the final podium place and bolted from the Alpine and his teammate. Well, starting the final lap, though, it looks like Bottas is going to continue an ever-growing list of drivers that have won a Grand Prix this season. George Russell won the opening 2. Then it, of course, was Verstappen who got the win all the way back at Imola. Since then, Yuki Tsunoda, myself, Lando, Norris.
2.9 seconds.
We've all won races so far this season. It has been wildly unpredictable. And I said going into the Grand Prix how one of any of the top 5 could mathematically leave here in the lead. Bottas, I don't think he's going to quite do it, but he's certainly going to be very, very close and has made his claim as a championship contender this season. Good couple of races by Lewis Hamilton as well. Certainly will do him some favours in the championship standings. But round the final corner, Bottas is going to win for McLaren here at the Austrian Grand Prix. A thing we said many, many times in games gone by. But through the final corners for us, it's going to be P7 in the end. A race of really what could have been. We'll take the points though.
It was a tough race at times, but they've held on to take a great victory for McLaren today. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
As the winners make their way up to the podium, one can only imagine the celebrations that will take place at McLaren tonight. Congratulations to everyone on the team, securing the win and proving that they're a force to be reckoned with out on the track. So let's review the updated driver standings. Max Verstappen's excellent result today sees him take over as the new leader of the Drivers' Championship. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
That's got to be the Flying Finn. Wait, how many Flying Fins have we had now? Anyway, I'm talking about Bottas this time. Just great raw speed and a good job in traffic as well.
Let's move on to the constructors. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Well, there we go then. Valtteri Bottas, the mullet, is doing him some wonders, and he is going to be your newest Formula One winner so far this season there. 4.4 seconds clear of his former teammate Lewis Hamilton in the end there, and 3 drivers from 3 different teams making up the podium there as Verstappen ended up just clawing away from Sainz and Gasly there. Boy, oh boy, Gasly, he deserved that podium this afternoon, I will admit it. That Alpine car was absolutely on rails there, beating out Charles Leclerc, still myself, Piastri, Ocon and Kevin Magnussen, our final points scorer. But that means in the championship then, Bottas goes from 5th straight up into P2 of the drivers' table there. There is still just 10 points covering our top 4. And again, as we head into Silverstone next time out, any of 5 drivers could still lead the Drivers' Championship, so it is an absolutely mental fight that is playing out at the moment there, and the likes of Sainz, Leclerc as well, they're not a million miles away either if they can get a good couple of results under their belt. Constructors-wise, though, we drop a little bit of points to Ferrari there as they close in on Mercedes. McLaren, simply by having 2 very good drivers now with a 16-point lead at the top of the table. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we will return very soon when Formula One heads to Silverstone. You guys do not want to miss that.